Thank you for watching. My name is Juan Carlos. I am an immigrant, someone who came to this country for the first time in 1992, and I became an American citizen in 1998. I'm a blessed man. I'm married to a great woman, born and raised in this country. I have two great sons, twin boys, Joshua Michael and Caleb Wesley. And I am an immigrant. I came to America in pursuit of the American dream, and I am grateful for this land. When I came here, I was thinking, what should I do with America? Should I adapt to America or should I adopt America? And I chose to adopt America as my new home. And what I did is I burned all the ships that brought me here. I burned all the bridges. And I decided that I would not create anything that would bring me back to the place that I came from. I adopted this nation as my homeland. I adopted her music, her symbols, her history, the people, the food, the culture. Everything became mine. The Rocky Mountains, the Smoky Mountains, the valleys of New Mexico, the Florida Keys, everything became mine. And with that blessing came an amazing responsibility. It was a responsibility that was given to me the day I had to raise my hand and I pledged allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stood. Not only to the republic, but also I pledged allegiance to the flag. I also swore an oath of defending this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I also promised that I would bear arms on behalf of this great country and perform non-combatant services as required by law. So in me, you have an example of an immigrant that really assimilated into this country. Of course, I have an accent because my first language is Spanish. And I came here and I learned English, and I've been speaking English for 30 years now. I'm 56 years old. So I spend more time in this country than in my country of birth. So when people ask me, where are you from? I have a hard time asking that question because I usually say I was born in Cuba, but I was made in the USA. So believe it or not, there's a lot of people like me that were born overseas but were naturalized in this country, and they have more passion for this country, more love and affection for this country than a lot of people that were born here. That is a fact. I see it now with all these riots. It would never occur to me under any circumstance I will never burn the American flag or step on the American flag. That's a sacred symbol to me as a citizen, as an American citizen, as a father of two born and raised American boys, as a father of a born and raised American woman, as the husband of a born and raised American woman. I would never think about trashing this country, looting, destroying, cursing. I would never do that. And there are thousands and millions of Hispanics like me that love this country, that we understand that America is our home and we have the divine duty to protect, to fight this nation. But I want to talk to you about something briefly, really briefly. You see this flag behind me? This flag means a lot to me. When I was 18 years old, I used to have that American flag in my home in Cuba, in a communist country. To me, it was a symbol of freedom. The flag didn't represent to me a particular president or a particular political party, because at that time I didn't understand anything about American politics. For me, the flag was a symbol of freedom. It was a symbol, it was a dream. It was looking at that flag. If you ask me which was the flag of Russia or the flag of Estonia or Guatemala or Saudi Arabia or Iran or the Netherlands, I could not identify that flag. But if you ask me to point out to the American flag among 1,000 flags, I knew the American flag because it was something beautiful. It was a symbol of freedom. It was a symbol where it was a symbol of the land where everybody could come and at least aspire to succeed, to prosper, to have an opportunity. So before I came to this country, the American flag was very dear to me. It was very special to me. So I was deeply disturbed about a month ago when I was recording a video and I posted it, and I got a phone call from a man that I do respect, a man that is a pastor, and he was not really happy that I had an American flag behind me. He said that the flag was a symbol of supremacy, a symbol of controversy, that as a pastor I should not have this flag. I should have nothing to do with the flag. And I really went off on that guy. I exploded like a nuclear bomb because he touched something that is very sensitive to me, the American flag. I love this flag with passion. But let me explain to you what is happening. Here's what is happening. For a lot of people around the world, if I was going to put 1,000 flags on this table, and I would bring anybody, rich or poor, and I would ask him, can you point out what is the flag of Suriname? Or can you single out the flag of Lithuania or Estonia or Ukraine, or the flag of Pakistan, or the flag of the Netherlands or Norway, or the German flag? Very few people, maybe I could count it with my hands, will be able to identify at least one. But if you bring the same people and you ask them, can you identify the American flag? Everybody would say this is the American flag. Why? Because the American flag does not only represent the United States of America, it represents an ideal, it represents a dream, it represents a land of possibilities, it represents the highest aspirations of humans on this planet. You know, the feelings, the images that the American flag conjures up for me are images of freedom, images of liberty, images of the most incredible and deep, profound love and affection for a piece of land. I never thought that I could love a piece of land the way I love this land. So the reason why you see this effort in destroying, burning, demoralizing, dishonoring the American flag, this is not an accident. This has been planned, organized, thought of by an elite that is trying to dethrone this country, to destroy America, to deconstruct this country, and they don't want the future generations to even remember that the American flag was a symbol of the United States of America. They don't want our children to remember. There might be a call soon to replace the flag. You know, so they want to erase that. Why? Think about the United Nations, they have a flag. The Health World Organization, they have a flag. So they do not, these globalists, whatever you want to call them, they do not want anything that can compete with the future rise of their global system. And the American flag is a bad symbol for them. It's something that has to be out of the way. So I have to tell you that right here, I am a man that loves God, that loves my family, that loves this country, but I am bound by a sacred oath to protect this country, to fight for this country. And maybe the government in this country does not care for me the way I care for them. Because I still believe that despite all the cronyism and injustice that we have in politics, I still believe, I choose to believe that we have the best system, justice system in the world, despite all the mistakes. What happens is that there's a lot of people that believe that America is fundamentally an evil country, but I'm here to tell you, America is a great country. I have been around the world, and I have not seen another nation like this. I have never seen another freedom like this. I have never seen another people more generous, more understanding than this. Yes, that is true that America has a past that is dark in some chapters. I know that America has a history that may not be the best history that we want to identify with. But America has come a long way. We have improved. We have erased a lot of the bad things from the past by creating opportunity for everyone, by trying to heal the wounds of the past. We are not the same nation we were. We have improved. We've come a long way. So to indict the whole nation and say that this nation is evil because of the history of the past is not fair. Now, whoever proposes that, these people are bent on a process of deconstruction, of destroying this country. And I want you to know this. The West today, the West civilization today that you and I should be proud of, the West civilization is undergoing a profound, very profound moral and spiritual decay. It is experiencing a deep crisis, and that is due to the loss of faith in its own worth. We have lost faith in our own worth. It is a self-hatred that is destroying America. And this self-hating lassitude is deceiving people into a nonsense apology. Can you believe that? Into a nonsense apology for their cultural identity, paying homage to any other culture except their own. Do not apologize for being white. Do not apologize for being black. Don't apologize for being born in America. Don't apologize for this nation. Don't go around the world bowing to other kings and potentates and princes and apologizing for this nation. Do not do that. Let me read you something quickly. I've been speaking for 10 minutes. I'm going to take another 5. And I hope that you share this with your friends. You post it, repost it, so it can help other people understand. There's a book that was written in 2008, and I'm going to read, by an Italian philosopher and politician. His name is Marcello Pera, and the name of the book is a very interesting name because the guy is an atheist. But here's the title of the book. The title of the book reads, Why We Should Call Ourselves Christians. And this is an atheist. And in this book by this author, it is the clearest example of this phenomenon that I'm talking to you about. And here's what it says. He wrote this book in response to 9/11, and it depicts a Europe paralyzed by self-hating, a culture that hates its own insanity. And here's what he writes. He says, the West today is undergoing a profound moral and spiritual crisis due to a loss of faith in its own roots. And he writes, and he makes it clear that by that, because he says, let me say this again, the West today is undergoing a profound moral and spiritual crisis due to a loss of faith in its own worth, exacerbated by the apostasy of Christianity within Western culture. Now, this author, he writes, and he makes clear that by Christianity, he means the entire Judeo-Christian tradition, and he goes on to say that without faith in the equality, dignity, liberty, and responsibility of all men, that is to say, without a religion of man as the son and image of God, liberalism, listen to this, liberalism cannot defend the fundamental and universal rights of human beings or hope that human beings can coexist in a liberal society. So basic human rights must be seen as a gift of God, as something God given, and hence they must be seen as pre-political and non-negotiable. And that's what we need to think in a profound way. Now, this is interesting because, and I'm going to read this to you again. This book that he entitles Why We Should Be Christians, the title is crazy because he's an atheist. This man, he accepts Immanuel Kant's famous argument that God is necessary to the existence of morality, that you really don't have to believe in him, but you have to invent him, whatever. But from this, he reasons not that we must have faith, but that we must live as if God existed. And what he's proposing is, okay, if you don't believe in God, at least you must live as he exists, because the existence of God, or at least the belief that God exists, is important for morality, is important for a country, is good for humans. So there's another point here that I want to share with you, because he's saying that urgently Christianity may be resurrected. And then he talks about a book, another book, a book by Douglas Murray. It's called The Strange Death of Europe. And this author, Ken, is the one that is writing this in an article. I'm quoting for him. And he is quoting Douglas Murray in a book entitled The Strange Death of Europe, where Douglas Murray finds the death spiral of Islamist aggression and Western self-hatred still more advanced. And he says, and he gives an example, and I hope that you don't think that this sounds racist or xenophobic. It's not at all. I'm quoting what he says. But he said, the grooming gangs of men of Pakistani, Iranian, Turkish, and other Muslim immigrant backgrounds, which abused thousands of local girls in Rotherham and elsewhere, while authorities turn a blind eye for fear of being called racist. This is a good point. It's a valid point. It's like today you see, you don't want to call evil evil because you're afraid to be called out, you're afraid to be canceled, you're afraid to displease the woke crowd. And but we have to be, it is what it is. We have to call things the way they are. Like when we call racism, we have to call this chaos, this rioting, this hatred towards America for what it is. So like Pera, Marcello Pera, Mary understands that the loss of Christian faith, it is a powerful contributor to the problem in Europe of an existential tiredness and a feeling that perhaps for Europe the story has run out and a new story must be allowed to begin. But the author of this article, he says, unless the non-religious are able to work with rather than against the source from which their culture came, it is hard to see any way through. That's what Mary writes. And then he says, after all, though people may try, it is unlikely that anyone is going to be able to invent an entire new set of beliefs like Christianity. So what I'm trying to say by this is, and I'm going to finish, is that we have to engage in this fight. We have to engage all kinds of people in this fight. There's a lot of black brothers and sisters out there that are amazing people. They don't deserve to be blamed for what the mob is doing. There's a lot of white people out there that love God, that are not racist at all, that they don't deserve to be blamed for what Antifa is doing outside. There's a lot of Hispanics out there that don't love this country. Hispanics like me that have blue eyes and lighter skin, and there are Hispanics that are darker than me that love this country passionately, that have integrated in this country. There's even Muslims out there in this country. There's Muslims in this country that love America, that have integrated. So it is not about, in this country, it's not about a skin color anymore. Those efforts that you see out there is a very organized and thought of and calculated plan to deconstruct any vestige of whiteness. And now whiteness doesn't have to do with skin color, it has to do with mental construct. Anything that comes from Judeo-Christian tradition or Greco-Roman culture, it has to be destroyed, deconstructed, rewritten. It has to be hidden from future generations. They cannot allow future generations to look at what Western civilization is all about because they might like it. Once they create the chaos, I know this is what they do in socialist countries, in communists, in Cuba, Venezuela, and countries like that. They try to deconstruct the West, destroy it, and the reason why they want to erase it, they want to erase it for sure, is that future generations may not want to go back. When they see chaos, they don't want future generations to start inquiring and exploring for new ways of improved life, and they don't want to go back to all these principles of civilized society, of Judeo-Christian faith, of a Greco-Roman culture. They don't want them to discover them and say, wow, this is what it was. Let's go back to that. So that's why they want to erase it. That's why they want to erase the American flag, the Constitution of the United States of America. That's why they want to erase every Judeo-Christian tradition. That's why they want to deconstruct the Western civilization. That's what is called whiteness. It's a mental construct. It's not a skin color anymore. So what happens is that in the future, if you happen to be black, and you're a friend with a white, and a Hispanic, and if you happen to love freedom, love the Constitution, believe in God, then you are the enemy. Now skin color won't separate you anymore. It's what you believe that is going to separate you. This is what this mob and the people organizing this mob is not intelligent. They're pawns, they're instruments. The people, they're puppets of these people up here, and once they use this mob to get what they want, then they will turn against the mob as well. That's just the way it is. So all this stuff that you see is a hatred towards the West. It's a hatred towards Western civilization. And, that's what they want, is the destruction. They hate our philosophers. They hate our history. They hate our art. They hate our music. I saw a guy the other day, I was listening to Johannes Strauss music being played by Andrew Hugh, an amazing musician, and somebody told me that's white music. That is a racist music. Can you believe that? That is a racist music. Well, they would love to burn those CDs and destroy that music and burn those books like Nazi Germany did in the 30s, burning every book that didn't fit their narrative. So you think that this is serious? It's not serious. It's really super serious. So here's what I want you to do to help me. Subscribe to the channel and share this. And I would like, in the next video, I'm gonna show with you a manifesto that we're writing, a manifesto of racists, of people that love America, that we're writing to unite minorities in this country so they can become a force to reckon with. And let me clarify this when I say minorities, because the name of this channel is Made America. What does mid-America means? MID means minorities in defense of America. Don't look at it in terms of racial minorities or religious minorities. And yes, this is a nation of racial minorities. Blacks are a minority, Hispanics are minorities, Muslims are a minority, Jews are minorities, Asians are minorities. Yes, this is a nation also of religious minorities. You know, Buddhists are minorities, Hindus are minorities, Sikhs are minorities, Jewish are a minority. That's true, but it transcends race and religion. Also, think about these farmers in this country are a minority. Think about that. Coal miners are a minority, hunters are a minority, fishermen are a minority, real estate agents are a minority, musicians are a minority, painters are a minority, roof workers are a minority, single mothers are a minority, disabled people are a minority. Everybody is a minority in this country. So when we talk about minorities in defense of America, we're talking about awakening people to the responsibility that we, all of us, need to coalesce to protect this country. Because if they erase anything, if they erase or destroy the roots, what gave us strength as a nation, then you are in danger. Your family is in danger. The future is in danger. Don't let them mob, this Antifa and Black Lives Matter. You know, like somebody asked me the other day, do you support Black Lives Matter? And I said, I hate that question. And they said, why do you hate that question? I said, well, I hate that question because you're asking me that question that I can be firmly placed on one side of a binary argument. I don't like that. Now, if you ask me, do you care for black people? Absolutely. One of my best friends are blacks. I care for blacks, white, Hispanics. Do they have the same right as whites? Absolutely. God created all men equal. That's what the Bible says. He didn't create whites superior or blacks or Hispanics superior to another race. God created all men equal. So if you ask me, do black people have the same rights of whites or any other human being? That question should never be asked. Only a racist person can ask that question, because that means that in their heart they have some difference. That's why they ask the question. They want to know where you are. So I don't like to be asked that question. So of course that I support equality. Now, if you ask me, do you support Black Lives Matter Inc. or the movement or Antifa? No, in a million years. Never. Never, because that movement is not about equality. It's not about peace. It's about destruction. It's about destroying this country. It's about stealing from you what you hold dear. All right. This is Juan Carlos de Valle. Thank you so much for listening. I do appreciate it. And subscribe to this channel and share with your friends. And you're going to be listening more from me. We're building a studio now so we can be live twice a week and connecting with many of you guys. So please help me get the word out there and help me in the fight to preserve this freedom that we have. It means a lot to me, to my family, and to a lot of my friends, and to a lot of Americans. So thank you so much. I do appreciate it.